It's time to say goodbye. I am so sad. I don't know what to do. Y'all, I can't believe it. How did we get to the end of this time, y'all? How did we get here? Can it say it ain't so? We're gonna end. There's no more impact to amplify, y'all. How is it so possible? Well, y'all, Do you feel amplified? Do you feel like your impact is going to the next level? Because I know I do. I don't know about you, but I know I do. Okay, y'all. I want to see who is in the chat before we go. Way to end on a high note, Holly. That's hilarious. Who else we got in this chat? Come on, y'all. Elizabeth is here. Jen is here. My good sis Kaz is here. Yes, y'all. Martin, yes. Hello, y'all. Hey, 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 hey. Teresa's in the house. Marco's in the house. Esther's in the house. Heather's in the house. I love it. Well, fam, believe it or not, we at the end of the day. I can't believe it. 2 days went by like that. But y'all, I have learned, I have grown, I have flourished, okay? And my impact is just begun. We're gonna kick things off highlighting one of our presenting partners, Virtuous. As y'all know, at Virtuous, they believe generosity has the power to transform the world and the hearts of those who give. Their mission is to advance global generosity by helping nonprofits build meaningful connections with their supporters. Virtuous is more than a nonprofit CRM. It's a responsive fundraising platform designed to empower teams to strengthen relationships and increase impact with confidence. Schedule your demo at Virtuous and see how Virtuous can help your nonprofit organization thrive with responsive fundraising. And you know, we got a good video for you.
The Virtuous Responsive Fundraising Platform helps nonprofits build better donor relationships, save time, and grow giving. Fundraising in an ever-changing world isn't easy. Creating meaningful connections with your supporters at scale and retaining your existing donors, all while inviting new people to join your mission, can feel overwhelming. Spending your day digging through disconnected data and completing repetitive tasks, especially when you're relying on legacy tech that can't keep up, only makes the problem worse. Sound familiar? That's where Virtuous comes in. Virtuous increases giving by personalizing every donor interaction, and it saves your team time by integrating your data and automating your mundane tasks. We call this responsive fundraising. It means listening to donors, connecting personally, and tailoring donor journeys that inspire giving. And with Virtuous, you have all the tools you need in one flexible, enterprise-ready platform. Break down data silos with donor management tools that provide a 360-degree view of each donor, from digital engagement to individual interests. Marketing automation. Automate donor journeys, tasks, and data updates, so every touchpoint feels personal and impactful. Integrated marketing tools. Unify email, SMS, and website tracking with your donor data for targeted, personalized campaigns. Donor insights. Access combined wealth, social, and behavioral data to better understand your donors and create experiences that inspire them to take action. Accelerate your gift pipeline and never miss an opportunity with a major donor. Connect with your favorite software, customize your experience, and ensure your data is secure with the leading enterprise-grade platform. With Virtuous, your team can stop wasting time on manual tasks, integrate data, and boost donor retention. It's time to build better donor relationships at scale with less work from your team. Let's grow generosity together.
Not me on mute, y'all. I was going in and I was just so excited, y'all. Child, this is anyhow. I said what I was saying was not us growing generosity together. That was Virtuous's mission, but I also believe these next two people embody that mission wholeheartedly. You know them, you love them. We're gonna bring out the founders of the Fundraising AI Global Summit, fam. One more time, give me a warm welcome to my friends Mallory and Nathan.
Oh my gosh, Floyd, I don't know how you did it
Damn.
for 2 full days. You literally started with that much energy. You're at like 100 when you started yesterday morning. You're at 100 today. I think you're gonna
Listen.
have to go on a silent retreat for about 30 days. I'm just my money's on the fact that you're not gonna speak to anybody for about 30 days, but
LOL. Y'all, we made it. I'm so excited for this final session. Bring us home.
well, first before you
Wait,
wait,
wait, bring him
Floyd,
back.
come back.
Bring him back. We're not done with you.
I'm
Nice
back.
try. Nice try. No, Floyd, the energy and passion you brought as our MC for the Fundraising AI Summit was unparalleled. Like literally, I could not think of another person in our entire industry that could have done a better job.
Mm.
So many people texted me, emailed. Their chat was just like the whole time. Just you made it so uncomfortable for so many speakers that had to follow you, and you set the bar so high. I can't even thank you enough. You have been a tremendous MC, and I
Mm.
just, thank you. Wish you so much success in all of your initiatives and all the things that you've already done. So,
Thank
I,
you. I appreciate that. I'm so grateful for y'all. And I'm so happy to be here. Come on, y'all. Amplify impact.
you're the best. You're the best. Well,
Truly, y'all, if you wait, can I just drop, I'm gonna drop Floyd's like website, because if you need an MC, a speaker, all the things, you guys have loved him and you do not have to say goodbye to him here. So Floyd, thank you for taking such good care of us, such good care of this community. Every space that you come into, you just handle with such intentionality and care, which is exactly why we wanted you here with all of us on such a big topic, sometimes a hard topic, sometimes a scary topic. There is just
Mm.
nobody who can hold space like this for community, exactly to Nathan's point, in our sector, quite like you. And I'm just so grateful that we got you led this for us.
and
Y'all, my
it,
cup is filling up.
I hope so. And for $25, you can have Floyd record a "Hello New World" or a "Brave New World" song that you could use as your alarm in the morning. And we never have to get money from sponsors ever again. We would just be able
Y'all,
to
Right,
do that.
right,
Floyd
right.
on Cameo. Floyd on Cameo. Just saying. Just
I'm
saying.
dead.
Floyd on
I'm
Cameo.
dead.
Thank you,
Y'all
Floyd.
are the best. All right, I'll be back soon, y'all.
Awesome. Well, I called an audible a few minutes before. It only seemed fitting. I have a keynote that I presented. I prepared. It's one that I feel very passionate about. It actually is a manifestation of 8 years working in AI with lots of organizations that have, like done extremely well during that time, and is an equal number of organizations that did not do very well during that time. And to be honest, I wanted to, we're going to talk through this, but I thought it was only fitting. In fact, that keynote's already recorded, so it's going to go on the website regardless. And it really has to do with this idea of curiosity and courage and the future of generosity. But there's no person that I know that represents curiosity and courage better than my dear friend. I mean, truly, one of my best friends in life is Mallory Erickson. So we were texting a little bit ago. She was already having a little bit of postpartum because the summit was over last year. She went straight to the hospital and had a baby.
2 years
Straight
ago.
or
2 years ago.
Oh my gosh, 2 years ago. What a blur. Um, and then this year, I thought it was only fitting to bring her on so we could talk about a couple of these things together. But first of all, Mallory, like we started the summit together a couple of years ago, 3.5 years ago, I guess. We've been through a lot together. We've had tears, we've had laughter, we've had like frustration, we've had all like fear, all of the emotions. And I think our bond has only grown stronger during that time, which I think is just a testament to your character and the type of person you are. Just just showing up over and over and over again with just like a tremendous amount of respect and dignity and wisdom and truthfulness. So thank you for all of this. We would have not been here without you. And also, when I think about curiosity and courage, you are a person that these are not your words, but 3.5 years ago, I would not have said Mallory Erickson is the technologist that I think is going to start a new generative AI company and light the world on fire. And here we are. And so when I think about the two elements that really differentiate people that thrive in the age of AI versus those that just kind of end up on this loop of doing things the same way and expecting a different result. Number one, it starts with curiosity. It starts with a sense of like, what if? And I do a lot of keynotes on this idea of what if, and it's the people that succeed in the age of AI. They don't just ask more questions, they ask better questions, and they ask them more often. And you have to be, yeah, of that mindset that anything is possible and just asking what if. But the other part you need is courage. And so that's where, this keynote really talking about the blend of both curiosity and courage, you really represent both. And so, I think it's only fitting. And I know you've not done a lot of promotion. So, for people that don't know, Mallory and I do not get paid for fundraising AI. This is all volunteer and it's a lot of work. I mean, it's a lot of work. It's so easy not to do this whole thing. Um, and you've really not taken much time to promote yourself and your company, Practivated. But, a few years ago, you were not a technologist. Now you're running a generative AI company that's taking the world by storm. So I don't know. Is it okay if I just kind of ask you a couple of questions of like what allowed you the space to be curious about it? And then how did you find the courage to do it? Because I think there's so much to unpack and so much wisdom in those two things for you that people can learn from.
Okay, yes, I will answer your questions, but hold on. This is why Nathan and I are such good friends, because the man did not take a breath. He says all these nice things about me, and then he doesn't even take a breath for me to be able to
No, I
say
don't want
any
you.
nice
That's
thing.
intentional.
I
Right. So
know
just
exactly what's
answer the
happening.
questions.
Wait, no, 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 no. Okay. And also, by the way, I had ready for my chat people to buy your book, Nonprofit AI, if they already haven't done that, because I was thinking the same thing, how much you pour into FAI, how much you do for this sector. And you are the most selfless, like amazing, generous person. Like it's unbelievable to me that your first book, Generosity Crisis, because getting to know you, you are the most generous person that I know. So I want to make sure that everybody knows about that too. But I do think, like, going back to like how we become such good friends, and it's funny because you keep saying 3.5 years, but it's 2.5 years. And the only reason I'm so good at the clock is because my daughter is
That's
almost
true.
two.
Okay. It's just a blur for me, but you actually have a
I
representation of
have a
the
little
time. Right.
counting
Right.
child. Um, but I feel like one of the reasons why we really like became such good friends and collaborators is because we both in each other found somebody who relentlessly wanted to show up for this sector. And like I think we both took a leap of faith and we both were courageous in like building a partnership without having ever worked together before. And so I just want to sort of like double click on that because I've been seeing so many people connecting over these last 2 days, and I've been watching relationships being built in the chat and throughout the summit. And I know it's virtual, but like Nathan and I, like he is one of my best friends in the whole world. That happened from a split-second moment at a conference where we connected and realized that what we cared about was so aligned, and we wanted to build something really meaningful together to solve a problem that was keeping both of us up at night. And when I think about like the best possible scenario of this summit and this space that we've created with FAI, it's so many other people in this community getting to
Yeah.
build those relationships and do meaningful work with other people that they share that alignment with. So I could give every positive accolade. Everything you've heard about Nathan that's amazing is true. He's
Oh,
even better
yeah.
in person. And I've learned everything about AI and leadership and responsibility through you. So I'm so grateful.
Well, it goes both ways. No, now answer my questions because then I
Okay.
have more, and then I have more questions for you. I like actually, as we're talking, I'm like, oh my gosh, there's so many really good questions, and I think these questions are things that actually people that are listening are going to take these to their next dinner party because I've been working on this for a little while. I'm hosting a dinner party tomorrow night, so you're going to be my guinea pig.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So what made me curious and courageous?
Yeah.
I mean, I think you know this about me. Like, I just sort of have an insatiable hunger for solutions. And I sort of joke, and like my husband will say this, he's like, you're like AI. You don't sleep until you've solved the thing. Like, you just keep trying to like finish complete the task or solve the thing or find an answer. And um, I, have really been for 5 years trying to figure out how we enable and fundraisers and support them in better ways and make them, give them what they deserve and to be more embodied in their work, to feel better doing it, to feel just fully like taken care of and supported. And honestly, if I could have figured out any other way to do that, I would have. But when generative AI came on the scene, it was my first real understanding that I could support this community, that I could support fundraisers in a way I had never imagined before. And then I think, and I say this a lot, like, I think a lot of my courage came from realizing what was at stake if I didn't,
Mm,
and I
mhm.
I think, like, sometimes when something's really scary, if you tap into how scary it is to not do it, you're like, well, then I've got to do it. And I think my fears for the sector, for fundraisers, for the movement of money towards what matters most outpaced my fear of embarrassing myself or getting something wrong or putting myself out there. Like, it just all became more important than that.
Yeah, I love that. I mean, it's such an inspiration for so many people. I mean, I do a lot of public speaking. I do a lot of keynotes, and this idea again of giving yourself permission to, to put yourself out there, to fail, to try new things. And one of the things that I refound over the past year is a book that I read in college, and I've read it a couple times since, but it's called The Four Agreements. I don't know. Have you ever read this
Mm,
book by Michael
mm,
Reeves? I read it in anthropology, and I remember as a business major thinking, why am I taking anthropology? It ends up being like one of the classes I probably reference the most. But essentially, it starts with this. It's in fact, been a best-selling book for like 30 years or something. I mean, it's been like literally always a best-selling book. So people should go buy the Four Agreements, read it like literally on a weekend. It's super short. It starts, while it's a book about happiness, it starts with this idea that as creatures, we're born inherently curious. And you get to see this every day because you have
mm,
two little girls that are just like, why is this color? Why is this hot? Why is this, do these things? And essentially, we're born as these inherently curious creatures. We question everything as young children. And I most likely was probably the most annoying child ever born on the planet, if you according to my mom. And I give her so much credit for putting up with me and tolerating my questions. In fact, I don't know if you know the story, but we grew up in poverty, and we had a really, really old set of encyclopedias. Literally, like they were like so old. They were my grandfather's from a long time before, and so we didn't have a lot of reference. And so instead, my mom, was working three jobs. I'd have these like crazy questions about things. She was like, go ask Bob. And Bob was an engineer that lived like five houses up the street. And so sure enough, like she would just send me up to Bob, I think just to get rid of me for a little while. And I go ask Bob, and he was so tolerant and would just be like, well, let's figure this out and let's find out. And this is obviously pre-internet. But really instilled this sense of curiosity. So as children, we're born inherently curious about everything. But as the book talks about, essentially, that we are shaped by our family structure, we're shaped by our community, we're shaped by our demographics and our geographics and good fortune and bad fortune and all the things around that. And at our adult self today, we are essentially have this curiosity quotient, which is shaped by all of those things, including the bosses that you've had. And if you're a boss like me, that for most of my career, I would say, I'd hire a subject matter expert and say, keep your eyes on your paper. Like literally use those words, like keep your eyes on your paper, put blindfolds on, and everything will be fine. Just focus on the thing that I hired you to do. And I've realized, and what you're talking about is a complete reinvention of what success looks like. I mean, it's
mm,
a complete reversal rather than the subject matter expert to hire a person that is just like, okay, I'm curious about this thing. And then I love that courage part because I'm like, I'm actually in your case, the courage could be like, I don't know, maybe I have a lot of, support in my family to give you courage, but you were like, the courage came from this, like, what if I don't do this? Like the stakes of not doing it were greater than. And so I think those two things combined in the age of AI, where anything is possible, but also giving yourself permission to rethink everything you think you know about your job or the world around you. Because you took a subject matter expertise, a domain of body of knowledge that you spent a lot of time crafting into your book, What the Fundraising, to your podcast, What the Fundraising, and then you poured that into a generative model called Practivated that literally in so many ways brings your brain to like thousands of people at the same time, like 24/7. Like
mm,
it's pretty remarkable. And if people haven't tried Practivated, hopefully Jen or somebody can put this in the chat, but you owe it to yourself to try Practivated, to really understand like what just a courageous idea could look like, because that was a year ago, maybe? Was it
mm.
about a year ago? When did you have this crazy idea? And then,
Yeah,
like, to
August
the
of
point.
last year, I went on Upwork and I was like, I have this idea. can anybody create anything like this? And is this a real thing? And I also like I don't want to under like I do want to say to your point, like I'm surrounded by a lot of people that help me be courageous, like you and Cherian and Jen and so many people who are here who were speaking the last 2 days, Tim Lockey, like just so Woodrow, and so like maybe that's another big recommendation for folks is like find your people, love them hard, and like let them tell you you can even when you aren't sure you can,
Right.
like, and I think we did that with FAI too, right? We've had over the years so many moments of doubt. Does this matter? Do people need this? Is this the right thing for us to be doing? Are we providing enough value? Are we solving this? And so find the people who are going to have the hard conversations with you when maybe you're not, when maybe you're being too courageous or like whatever it is, but I think, yeah, the people who are going to have your back and help you have your own back even when it does get really scary. And maybe that's the last thing I'll say. I have been so scared every day. Like, I'm not gonna cry. I might cry. But like, like there have been so many times I remember saying to you, Nathan, like, I feel like there is everything at stake, right? I have this other business. It's going so well. Like everything's going so well. Like I'm pushing all my chips to the center of the table because I believe so much in this, but gosh, I could lose it all. I
Right.
could lose everything. And so I think that's the other thing, like do it scared. Like courage is not about fearlessness. Like it's about having a lot of fear and like taking a deep breath and doing it anyway.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's absolutely, I think there's so much wisdom in there. So as I kind of think about this and think about how my brain has transitioned over the last couple of years. So I started out working in AI ML. So AI ML is basically machine learning and deep learning to measure connection and to predict gratitude back in 2017, 2018. I mean, when I did my TEDx in 2018, people thought I had like three heads. They had no idea. Like, why would you literally, like, why would you talk about AI and generosity in the same sentence? Um, Now, fast forward, and I'm not a futurist, but I tend to spend a lot of time thinking about things in the future, probably a unhealthy amount. And I find myself now in this constant state of like overwhelm. So, like the opposite side of this is like if you're entrepreneurial and you have these ideas, you can have a lot of curiosity, but you can also live in the state of overwhelm where you don't do anything with them, right? And again, that curiosity has to be backed by the courage to do something. For me, it also requires a sense of grounding and a sense of deliberate contemplation. And so this year, as I'm reflecting on 2024 to 2025 summit, I find myself, well, I moved from Southern California to Tennessee. I have a tractor, I have chickens, and I find so much joy in those things. But I also created a room in my house where it's a no phone zone, like a room in my house that allows me to contemplate and to think. And it's the place that I really cherish to like go before anybody's awake, to sit there with my cup of coffee and have a notebook and a pen, and that's it. And sometimes I write in it. Sometimes I just look at the birds outside as the morning starts. I think this is going to be absolutely imperative. There's a statistic that in my keynote, people can watch the whole keynote, but that information in the early 1900s doubled every 100 years. In 1945, it was doubling every 25 years. Information now doubles every 12 hours. We're about, so people that don't realize this, because I do spend a lot of time on the future of AI. And as you know, I just got back from Harvard Law to talk about basically the future of AGI, which somewhere in the consensus between 2027 and 2030 is that information will double every few hours. And in that, like, no matter how curious you are and how courageous you are, like, you have to find the space to be present with your own thoughts, to really spend time in some critical thinking. Otherwise, you will live in a constant state of overwhelm. And so I think there's just like a lot of value. You spend a lot of your work kind of like understanding your brain when it goes into these like weird places. I won't describe it very well, but I know you understand it. But maybe you could share a little bit about that, because like I'm projecting out 2 to 3 years from now when information is just like lightning fast, and it will be. So like just to disabuse anyone from thinking like AI is not a fad, it's the pace of innovation is not slowing down. We've broken all the rules in what synthetic and organic data can do, and so that is going to continue. Are there any tips that you can give people on just like deregulation. I think that's the right word that you use. And like, you're on mute, I think. Are you there? No.
Down regulation.
Oh, there. See, I have no idea. All I know is that I live in this constant state of like, oh my gosh, everything is possible. So nothing's possible. So now I've found a way to create barriers and boundaries around
Mhm.
my mental state that allows me to like be really present. And when I do that, it's amazing. Like lightning happens and like all these like really great ideas come.
Yes. Well, okay, so you're hitting on a lot of things that are so important. I think one, you're right, like the speed of everything. You and I have talked about this a lot lately. Like just things feel like they're coming at us so fast, right? And I hate like I have two little kids. I hate feeling like I blink and the day is gone or the weekend's gone. Like I like holding on so tight, you know? I think there's like a few things, like exactly to your point, find the places and ways that you're unplugging and what that looks like. Like maybe disconnect more things from each other, right? I take off my watch because it's like everything is just like stimuli, stimuli, stimuli. So, like, figure out where you're unplugging and what that looks like. Where are you like deepening human connection? You know, like where are those moments without a phone, without the news, where you're deepening human connection? I also think about how I absorb information in spaces that allow me to be in a more regulated state. So there's certain things that I'll listen to while I'm walking in the redwoods. There's certain things I'll only sort of expose myself to when I'm doing another like movement activity and I feel like I can actually digest that in the state that I'm in. There's certain news and information that I cannot absorb at a computer when I am stuck and trapped. Like it's just too overwhelming. And so I think, yeah, like I talk a lot about like down regulation, up regulation, the different ways that our nervous system, you know, interacts with the stimuli and information around us. I think it's going to become increasingly important that we understand the relationship between
Mhm.
our brain and our body, because stress and overwhelm live in our body and we are going to have to create more space between our like head processing and our nervous system in order for us to really be able to digest what's important, ditch what's not. Like, there's just, we need to set up kind of like these filter systems, both in terms of like our environment around us and then also what's happening inside of us. And the last thing I'll say here is, you know, I talk a lot about like using BJ Fogg's behavior method to make certain things easier to do. Like, how do you build habits and behaviors to enable certain actions and make things easier to do? Another huge behavior hack here is think about the things that you actually want to make harder to do. So that's like when you delete social media on your phone or you unplug okay Google, whatever that is actually called. But that's what my kids call it, you know, from your house. Like think about how you make the things that you feel like are auto responses that you feel like are draining your energy, are overwhelming you, make it harder to access those things, to do those things. That starts to also like correct some of that
Yeah.
for ourselves.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a real thing, right? Is that we trade privacy for convenience all the time, right? We do that with Amazon, we do that with just like Netflix or whatever it might be. And if we're not intentional about it, the average person interacts on around 5,000 algorithms per day at this point. I mean, just a few years ago, it was like a tenth of that. And so our lives are constantly being driven and will continue increasingly be driven by essentially algorithms that have a specific intention. Those algorithms are built with a target, and the target is to get you to do something, take some action, and read something. And if we aren't really conscious of that, we're just going to find ourselves skipping across the top in a constant state of overwhelm. And so there's a couple tips, and I wanted to share just a couple. Then I want to ask you some fun questions. So what I've been thinking about, I do a lot of speaking on curiosity, been thinking about curiosity a lot. I I grew up very curious. Number one, when in the age of AI, stick a post-it note on your, and this is not from me, this is from Ali K. Miller, who started AI at Amazon. Put a post-it note on your screen that says, how can AI help? Like, don't do things longhand. Just go, not that AI can do everything, but put a post-it note on your screen that says, how can AI help? Number two, give yourself permission to color outside the lines without judgment. If I gave you a coloring page and actually you made a coloring book and I've said, here, take Mallory's coloring book and no matter what you do, make sure you don't color inside the lines. Like, why would that feel wrong? Like, ask yourself, like, truly reflect on like, why would that feel icky and what in your life actually convinced you that there was a right way to do that. And just think about those things. Reward yourself. The uncomfortable feeling of trying something new. Like to your point, like doing something hard is hard. And I follow that, show me the incentives and I'll show you the outcome. If there's no incentives to do it, like buy yourself ice cream, whatever it is, like do the
Mm.
hard thing, but reward yourself so it becomes a little bit more pleasurable and you can actually, be enjoy doing that hard thing more. Um, Look at things from a beginner's mind. So that idea of the best disruptive thinkers in the world basically detach themselves from the current state. They sit like watching a movie, they kind of sit on the side and then project this out of like what's going on. So you have absolute clarity. And as a consultant, I can tell you this is something good consultants can really do is objectively look at the issues versus, looking at them just emotionally. And then there's just two more. Um, and I absolutely agree with this one. Habitually assume that the way you've always done something is not the best or only way,
Mm.
because we know now there's a thing called a generative AI model, a large language model or frontier model that knows far more about most domains than humans do. Um, and then actually, I lied. There's two things. The second to last one, write down one thing every day that surprised you. If you're not a journaler, I'm not a journaler, but I
Mm.
take such joy in writing down one thing every day that surprised me. And it's not academic. This is about something you observed in the world or something that just like kind of delighted you. If it is, take a picture every day that just is something that you find intriguing, but find the specialness in life. And the last one is to assume anything is possible because you're a walking testimony that anything is possible because it is. We live in a completely new era, and any best practice that you had before November 30th, 2022 is outdated. It's time to rethink everything we think we know. So I've been doing these dinners around the country now called, and I've just started doing one in Seattle. I'm doing one in San Diego tomorrow. Dinners of extraordinary humans, and it's amazing because like if you get invited to a dinner of extraordinary humans, like probably going to accept it because it's just out of sheer curiosity. Um, so one of the questions I've been asking is, what advice would you give to your younger self? And and I'm just curious, like if there's just one piece of advice, if you'd be vulnerable for a second.
Mm. That you don't have to be like everybody else to live an amazing life.
That's amazing. I love that. And take this question and ask, next time you're with your friends or your family around the dinner table, like, what advice do you give to your younger self? There's some very common themes about being present and not caring what other people think and taking risks. The
Tell
follow
me
up to
yours.
that,
Wait, I wanna know yours.
yeah, I think mine would be also not caring. I spent a lot of time caring what other people thought. And
Mm.
you would have seen any of my Myers Briggs or Jung typology tests for like ever until I had tons of coaching to get out of that imposter syndrome. I mean, it cost me thousands and thousands of dollars to be okay with who I am.
Mhm.
And there's a balance there. And now, like being true to yourself. The follow-up to this question I find is more interesting because we're at the precipice of a tectonic shift in how society works, how work gets done, how we hire, how we promote, how we get promoted. I mean, truly a tectonic shift. And Sam Altman, who I disagree with on most things, I agree with him on this idea that we're going to experience more change in the next 5 years than we have in the last 50. So
Mm.
if you project to 2035, your 35 self, however old you are, what advice, if you could come back to give yourself, what advice to your 2025 self would you give? And I'm not
Mm.
going to make you answer this live unless you wanted to, but I don't think it's easier for us to think back and be like, oh, I have more clarity about the thing I'd give myself advice from 10 years ago. But there's probably some nuggets of wisdom that you can give yourself if you project out in this what will be the fastest pace the society has ever moved. Productivity will go up. We will have this information explosion, which will come in 2027, 2028, where just information is flowing every few hours. I would really encourage people to sit in their no phone zone area, wherever that is, and think about yourself in 10 years intentionally and give yourself some advice today because I bet you there's a lot of wisdom in that advice.
Mm. I think I do know what my advice is, but I sort
Yeah.
of give it to myself every day, which is, like, have freaking fun. I
Yeah.
think, like, the work we do is so big and, like, I I have little kids and I love being a mom and I love my work. And I think like it can be, we can like live in the overwhelm, to your point before, of like as us recovering people pleasers, and perfectionists and stuff, of like, and I think for me, joy and connection and like fun, like seeking out fun, like makes it so that I know in 10 years, no matter what, what could I regret if I had,
Yeah,
if
I
I was
love that.
happy?
I think there's so much wisdom there. Yeah, being present, I think, and it's so hard, right? Because the
Yeah.
lure, especially if you're entrepreneurial, the lure of like everything is possible, creates this opportunity overwhelm. Okay, what's one invention you would uninvent?
Wait, AI. I'm just kidding.
No judgment.
So I don't even know about that. But wait, I want to ask you a question, Nathan, because I feel like this is a really cool opportunity. One of the things that we were talking about in this, which I think fits perfectly into this theme, is that like futuring, like that, how do we get out of just thinking about what we could do based on how things have been done? Like, how do we break through that next level of creativity and what
Mhm.
if and imagining the world that we want to live in? And how do we go bigger in terms of our thinking? And maybe this is in the slides, maybe it's not, but like, how do you push people past their prescribed boundaries of even what being a visionary has maybe looked like for them before?
Guilt. No, and honestly, no, I heard this the other day. In fact, yeah, I was thinking, who was the interview? So yesterday I interviewed Dr. Ramon Chowdhury, who is just like amazing, but it wasn't that I was watching an interview with her from like a year ago where she was saying in preparation for interviewing yesterday, she said, this thing about AI, what we have to realize is that it's not being done to you, right? Like this is something that is happening around us, but we have agency, right?
Yeah.
And so I think for the most part, I think really I would say that there's two answers to the question, but first is actually detaching yourself from this thing that's being done to you. Because if you don't like change, and in all reality, a lot of people don't like change. In fact, statistically, 20% of people will champion for change, 50% will sit on the sidelines, and 30% will actually work against change. So
Mhm.
detaching yourself from what the change is happening and realize that you have agency, right? You could literally come and work my farm and help me raise chickens because I don't know what I'm doing. Like, my neighbor's a chief A officer and he's starting a dairy farm. Like, you have agency in what you do. I mean, we have a lot more choices. But the other, like, part of this that it's not guilt, but I live with a heavy sense of duty to humanity. And with that comes a moral obligation that if when AI is not going away, is a mirror to humanity, it's a moral obligation to me and hopefully everyone on this call and everyone in the sector to stand in front of that mirror to make sure that AI is representing what I believe is the best part of humanity. And if
Mhm.
we're not, and if we're laggards, and if we're not fully present, and if we're not conscious and proactive in helping create the future of humanity through what AI will represent, then I would worry a lot more about the future world than I do because I kind of work at this from this moral imperative that we have to be present in this conversation.
Mm. I know there's still 286 people here, and we have a few minutes left in this session, but I really hope and I'd love to see this reflected in the chat. Nathan, you have been working on this since 2017, and probably before that were kept up at night by all of this. And I hope that you have been able over these last 2 days to like take a step back and look at what you built and look at what you birthed. I know, stop it. You're going to deflect and pretend like it was other people. Just stop for 1 second. Okay. Can y'all help me in the chat, please? And just like give a lot of love to Nathan before he immediately pushes it to other people. But I really like to put something forward, to put yourself out there, to put your own career on the line, to push so many people forward to saying this matters. Look, it was easy when you and I started working on fundraising AI together. Chat GPT had come out. It was easy for me to partner with you at that point. You were talking about all this when nobody cared and nobody would listen and nobody was paying attention. That is the hardest work, to do it in the quiet rooms, to do it when nobody stands up, when nobody raises their hand. And you did it year after year after year. And as a sector, we are indebted to you for it. As a community, we are indebted to you for it. And I just want to make sure that you really get to like sit in that, because I know how much duty you feel and you've freaking done it.
Well, I appreciate all of that. It was very lonely for quite a while. Nobody cared about any of this, and I knew for a fact that we would essentially amplify or accelerate some of the challenges that I helped create in as a fundraiser for 20 years. Like I was part of the relational to transactional fundraising for 20 years, and I knew AI was going to exacerbate that, but so thank you for that. I think as I reflect, and I do have just a tremendous sense of overwhelming gratitude from a place that what we've now done is kind of unheard of in this day and age. Like, we didn't create a nonprofit, we didn't create a for-profit. You and I have not monetized this at all, yet we show up and give like so much time. This is like what I kind of think of like this is what people used to do and they gave a shit about
Mhm.
the world. And to see so many people show up from so many countries, and like all the people in the chat, and like Sammy and Kaz, and I mean Jen's amazing, and all these people who've made this happen. It's like it gives me like such a warm and fuzzy feeling, because like there's nothing in it for any of us. Like this is just like uh something that we believe so strongly in, and we've created it, and now we've produced a website and resources, and like I don't even know how many videos at this point, like hundreds and hundreds of videos on every topic around AI and impact that you can think of. And so it is pretty amazing. And every time at this time of year, I text you and I'm like, I think I can't do this anymore. I think we're done. And then we end up hearing from people and seeing the results of the survey response, and it keeps us going. But that's a great place to end. For everyone that's still here, for anyone that's going to watch this later, this is all for you and with you. And I mean, you said this yesterday in the opening keynote. This is a movement that is representative of every single person that has, liked a post, that is, watched whatever a session, has cheered someone on. I mean, this is truly, I think, the best part of humanity represented over 2 days. So let's keep it going.
Yeah. And just like I tell my kids when I have to travel for work, I'm like, listen, I'm out there because I think that's building the world I want you to live in. I get to be a mom at home with you, and I get to be, help build the world I want you to grow up in. And I think for all of us, what we get out of this is that we get to create the world we want to live in. We get to build the nonprofit sector we want to be a part of. We get to build the communities and the meeting. And so there's a lot in it for all of you, for staying involved in FAI, for taking the reins and leading in your respective locations, because we are not at the effect of this. We get to decide and we get to be in the driver's seat. And we're really excited to drive with you.
Yep. And as we reflect and we analyze and we go through all the things after we take a day off, although I'll be on an airplane tomorrow morning, um, we will reflect and come back. And, I think with our commitment is to addressing the needs. I mean, frankly, when we started this idea before our first summit, we thought this would be a one-time thing. And then, AI would be regulated and everyone would know what we're doing. And now we know that trust is won or lost at the sector level. And I think we still have a lot of work to do. So, Jen Lau, see you in the chat. People that don't know Jen, thank you, thank you, thank you. This is the unsung hero of fundraising AI that is just every day waking up and thinking about this stuff and working so hard. She's so we're so grateful for her. So, with that, this is a final. Like, it's going to be a little bittersweet. I don't know what you're going to
I'm
do,
not
and I don't.
ready. No, Nathan, should we go on FaceTime? I'm not ready.
Floyd, you're gonna have to shut us down
Yeah.
at the.
No,
Just off the stage.
yo, what a note to end on. I love what you just said at the end, Mal, that we get to create. It's similar to what we talked about earlier today and what we talked about yesterday, that we are in the driver's seat. And my question to each and every one of you is, where do you want to go? Where do you want to go? Where do you want us to go as a people? Where do you want your missions to go? Where do you want the future of our children to go? And the fact that we are on this call right here, right now, the fact that we have these two amazing pioneers who are showing up selflessly, the fact that we have the Jens of the world and the Princes of the world and all the hosts and everybody who is saying yes. Remember what I said earlier today? There is power in your yes. And because they said yes, we get to say yes, right? I did this at another event. I'm going to do this one thing. I'm going to get to the script again. But look what happens. Look what happens when I turn my ring light off. It's hard for you to see, right? I mean, I'm still here, but it's hard for you to see. But when I turn my light on, guess what? I shine and I create space for everything around me to shine. So my call to action to each and every one of you in this room is to let your light shine. We make movements happen when we let our light shine. We change sectors when we let our light shine. We impact lives when we let our light shine. So let that light shine, y'all. That's what we're going to say. Let that light shine. Thank you, Mallory. Thank you, Nathan. Thank you to the whole Fundraising AI Global Summit team. We're so grateful for you all. Love you both. Okay, y'all. Well, they told me I got to finish this script. So let me go ahead and just finish this script real quick. Okay, we're going to get through it and then we're going to go on home. Y'all, this has been so much fun. I feel so grateful that I've been able to spend these last 2 days with you, right? I want to see some hearts, some love, some things in the chat. If you're feeling as powerful and fired up and ramped up as I am, and y'all, of course, let me know what y'all thought about that last session. I mean, it was amazing. So nothing but tens across the board. In the words of my good sis Beyonce. Okay, 10, 10, 10. Y'all, a few more slides. Summit Plus. Y'all have this until tomorrow. Okay, don't tell me we didn't give you nothing. Over $5,000 worth of value in Summit Plus, only $655, and y'all have it until tomorrow. Use FAI Summit at checkout. Yes, you're gonna get the recordings with or without Summit Plus. All you gotta do is log into that Air Meet again, use your credentials, okay? And then in the next couple of weeks, you're gonna see all the full access in there. Amplify Engagement Challenge. You know what? I'm gonna give away a few more things, okay? I don't care what they say. I'm gonna just give away a few more things. Prince is gonna have to yank me off the stage, okay? We're gonna give a few more. Shout out to our top folks like Allison and Matt and Nicole and Jacqueline started. Jacqueline said, I'm gonna come in half the day and still make it to the top. Come on, Jacqueline. Can I do like maybe 2 more giveaways? I'm gonna do like 2 more giveaways. Who else we got? Let me scroll on down. Craig, you get something. I don't know if you're in this call, but Craig, you've been showing up. I saw you online too. You get a prize. Alexandria, you get a prize. Melissa, you get a prize. Melissa Tyrone. And then Jason Frazier. And 25 points behind you, Tyler Russell, you get a prize. Okay? I feel like Oprah. Someone's gonna say you can't give prizes out to everybody. Okay, it was only a few people now. I love the people, y'all. Well, y'all, make sure you follow over Princey to get your prize, okay? Also, Amplify Kit. We have the Amplify Challenge, but we also have the Amplify Kit, y'all. We're gonna drop the link in there. It's from all of our sponsors and speakers, giving you a nice and amazing tips and tricks and toolkits that you guys can implement. We want to say thank you to our amazing sponsors, because this would not be possible without you, especially our presenting partners, Giving Tuesday and Virtuous. Y'all already know that Giving Tuesday is powering global generosity each and every day, everywhere. And Virtuous is the responsive fundraising platform helping nonprofits build meaningful supporter connections and grow impact with confidence. Their partnership ensures that this event and all this learning is free. Y'all, I can't believe it. I can't believe I'm saying goodbye. But thank you all so much for rocking with me for the last 2 days. Thank you so much to the Fundraising AI team. Thank you to Jen. Jen, you are one of one. We love you. Thank you, Mallory. Thank you, Nathan. And thank you for being here. Thank yourself, okay? Thank yourself. because y'all did that. You were rocking with me. You were giving me emojis. You were giving me likes. You were giving me all the comments. You were connected with me online. Thank you. And y'all, that's a wrap. Y'all, I'm grateful for you. I love you. And I will see you on these interwebs. And until we meet again, make sure you amplify impact. Bye, y'all.